If you're new to FIFA Mobile, and by new, I mean, let's say you've started in the last 6 to 8 months and this is your first season, there are a lot of cheats, hacks, tips that the rest of us are aware of that you probably don't know yet. What's up, guys? Finally, he sleeps here. Tonight, we're going to talk about some tips, tricks, cheats, hacks, like a list of the 10 best ones that new players to FIFA Mobile, where this is your first season of the game, you're not aware of, or you're missing out on, or maybe you're a player who's been around a while and you just don't realize that this is some of the stuff that most of us do. First, though, make sure you subscribe here at YouTube. Turn on notifications so you never miss when a video goes live for FIFA Mobile or Raid or any of the other content that I put out. Subscribing is free, and it does make a big difference here at the channel. First, though, big shout out to some members at FinallyHeSleeps.com. Thank you for all of your support throughout all of these seasons in FIFA Mobile and keeping the channel what it is. Kinsey, King, JMO, Sammy, Politico, Falushke, Christoph, Johnny D30, and Cole. Thank you, guys. I do appreciate it. All right, let's get into the tips. All right, this tip is about matchmaking and hacking your way into the best possible matchmaking scenarios for player versus player. A lot of the events, specifically this season, have had some really weird matchmaking lineups. Right here in Hall of Legends, we have a player versus attack and a head-to-head as part of your daily components. The way matchmaking works for this specific event is it's based 100% on OVR. So if I go in with 138 OVR Liverpool squad like we have here, I'm going to face teams that are give or take 2 OVR from my range, so like 136 to 140. But if you create a second team, which is exactly the same, except you bronze bench it and throw a bunch of bronze players into your reserves and turn off the auto substitutions so they don't accidentally make their way into your squad, and set this up as your active lineup, you still have your best opportunity to come into the match and put your best foot forward, but you're going to line up against players whose OVR matches your bronze benched OVR. So like right now, we are set up here. We'll switch sides so you can see what his OVR is. Mine is 114, but it's really a 138 squad, and now we're facing a 113. But his team is set up 113 naturally, whereas ours is a 138 naturally. That means we should have a very high opportunity to be able to just walk right through this match. You could probably just autoplay it. Now, stuff like this it's not the nicest way to handle the game, but when you're doing stuff daily, these are the tips and tricks that a lot of people do all season long, in just as a means to make the game a little bit easier, specifically for this stuff that you're just doing every day and there's no real advantage to it other than it's just your daily requirement for the event. The other way you can do this is we have matchmaking that is based up. If there is a event where you use a preset team, this is we've seen this in seasons past or in events past where both of you are using a Man City squad, and the Man City squad is created by the actual event. It's not who you have. If you create a very low OVR team and you're using their Liverpool squad or their Man City squad anyway, but you go into it with an active squad, it's like in the 90s or the low 100s, you're going to line up against people who's also has an active squad in the low 90s, low 100s, or wherever it is, but you're using a preset team. So you both have the same OVR, but you're playing against a player who has not near as much experience. Maybe they don't have the skill moves that you have uploaded, or they're just not as experienced in the game as you are. Those are the matchmaking tricks for events that most of us do each and every day. Okay, this is one that I didn't think I had to mention, but apparently people still don't realize this. The daily training, if you're still doing this for the skill boost that it gives out, each day you have 3 different levels of training. There are 2 skill games and a match here for today, for example. You have the easy, you have the normal, and you have the hard. Once you've unlocked the hard, the final match in the series, that's the only one you have to do. You don't have to play all 3. Just do this one 3 times to get the most benefit out of it. Because we're getting 45 skill boosts doing that one 3 times. But if you do each of these once, it's 5, 15, and 30. So you're losing 15 skill boosts, not to mention the training points, and the coins are different as well. So once you've unlocked the hard, just do 3 versions of the hard every day if you're still doing this for boost. We have had a lot of these quest type promotionals. I wouldn't call them events because there's no real daily stuff you have to do, but there are a lot of quests that are involved. Now, Centurions doesn't have this specifically, but we've seen it with like flashbacks and different of these promo events in the past. They will have lineup requirements as part of their quest. So you have to have 5 players from Real Madrid in your starting 11, and it'll say score 10 goals with Real Madrid players in your starting 11. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that those players have to be in your starting 11 of your active squad. They just have to be part of your starting 11 for any of your different lineups. So what you can do is you can take and create a new lineup based on your main lineup, throw in all the players that meet those requirements, but then go back to your main lineup and create it as active. It doesn't have to be the lineup with all of those player requirements. And most of the time it does work. It works this way for challenge mode as well. Until they fix that, it's the first thing you should check to make sure in these quest type events that you aren't dumbing your team down, throwing in golds and bronze players to meet a minimum lineup requirement if you don't have to have them in your active squad. They just have to be part of a starting 11 in one of your save teams. Gems are the free alternative to FIFA points in FIFA Mobile. And gems are most of the time pretty difficult to come by in a large quantity, other than if you're doing the offers where you're actually buying stuff or watching videos or whatever. It's not the easiest way to come up with gems. If you're short on gems, every day, make sure when you log in, you come here into the store, go to the FIFA points and gems, come down to gems. There are 5 ads that you can watch each and every day that give you a grand total of 50 gems. That is 350 gems a week, which adds up. I mean, you're talking more than 1,400 a month. And if you're moving in between events, just watching 5 ads a day is usually good enough for a couple thousand gems between major events. It adds up. Don't miss out on those 5 ads that you can watch each and every day. Just make it part of your daily routine. Okay, here's another one as far as these quest type events go. Some of these quests require lots of things, like you have to perform so many headers, or so here you go. We had to, I think it was 100 headers or 50 headers as part of this event. Don't forget, when you have these weird things where you have to do, so many headers or complete passes or anything like that, if you go to the World Cup while it is still available and just choose beginner as your level, I would suggest Argentina, because obviously they received the most upgrades throughout the course of the tournament. If you select beginner and do that, you can pretty much autoplay your matches. You get more Star Pass credit. You're going to score an unheard of amount of goals without having to touch the game. It's all autoplay, and you can usually complete all of those quests for these promo type events in an evening and never have to do anything more than accept your score and start the new match. Because we've had a lot of these like quest type promos in the last six months, here's another one to discuss. There is a training players quest that we've seen pop up a lot lately. This one for Centurions required you to do 10 different levels of training. And a lot of people will take one player and they will train them 10 levels. That is definitely not the most cost-effective way to do this, specifically if you have a team that's already trained with everybody to 30. It is much easier to take one bronze and train them one time to level 1, and train a second bronze to level 1, a third bronze to level 1. It's the most cost-effective way to do it, to get all 10 of them complete. That is if you have a whole bunch of bronze and silver players to be able to do it. The other way that is more effective, if you have a lot of transfer tokens, it depends on whether or not you've gotten the Star Pass throughout or if you make a lot of transfers. But if you're somebody like me who kind of gets stuck with one theme squad, like right now I've had this Liverpool team for quite a while. If you have a bronze or a silver that has a 1 or 2 training rank, if you hit train and then you transfer it to another like low OVR player. So if I send this level 2 to another 54 that is untrained, it takes 4 transfer tokens, and that is considered 1 level of training. So when we've had quests that required you to do 2 a day, if you just send it over to that player and then send it back, it takes 8 transfer tokens. It doesn't cost you anything other than the transfer tokens. And if you have thousands of transfer tokens that you're not going to use before the end of the year, this is an easy way to meet those training requirements. Okay, here's another one about Star Pass credits. The way you earn Star Pass credits as Star Passes advance is you complete all of your daily requirements. You can only do so many things though in a day because we don't have an open campaign this season like we've had in seasons past. So you can only play so many matches in the events and so many versus games and so many the division rivals matches before you lose the ability to keep playing because they no longer give out player versus player points. So I think, what is it, like 20 versus matches, 10 head-to-head matches, 10 managers matches a day. If you're unable to get all that stuff done, one of the easiest way to earn your Star Pass credits is to just autoplay this stuff. Now, I know that if you lose your matches, you get a lesser amount of Star Pass credit, but actually sitting down to play all of those matches each and every day is a little bit more difficult and time consuming than most people have for it. But if you autoplay to the point where your OVR keeps you in the range so that you're winning 50% of your games, because it's going to keep you at the same fan level or cup level or point level, then it becomes a wash as to half of your games are getting more points than the lower games, and you just find where your team's skill level and OVR keep you static. So for me, it's about 700,000 fans in Versus. So I know if I autoplay at this level with a 138 OVR squad, I'm going to win half of the games. The key is that the Star Pass points don't change based on your division. I get the same amount of Star Pass points at Legendary 3 as you do FIFA Champion, as you do way down in World Tour or way back at the beginning. It doesn't change the higher you are, so it's a better advantage to drop down in tiers to here if you're trying to complete Star Pass. Another major tip in this game is collecting credit through World Cup to be used for the Star Pass. We have the Star Pass, and one of the main things with this is trying to reach it to the end before the Star Pass resets. And in order to do that, there's a finite amount of daily events and division rivals and things that you can do. And one of the major ways to make up for this difference is with World Cup. Many people are not playing World Cup at this point, but if you go in, you have 7 entries each week. If you go in, select Legendary, pick any team, start it, there is a forfeit button right here. And you can forfeit it and collect 15,000 coins, 60 XP, and 30 Star Pass credits. You do that every single week for all 7 of your entries. That's an additional 210 Star Pass credits per week, which is 840 a month just by doing that. And you can do it over and over again with all 7 entries. Just make sure you select Legendary to get the most possible points without having to play these things each and every week. All right, League versus League in this game has been broken since the beginning of the season. And when I say that, what happens is if your league is running League versus League, you only need a minimum of 4 players in each of the tournaments. So if we start a tournament, we don't want a tournament. We want, yeah, it's a tournament. Find opponent. Okay. If you're going to set this up and you only need a minimum of 4 players. So we have start a tournament with 4 players. If we try to do it with 3, it's going to tell us that you can only select it with 4, 6, 8, 10. So a bare minimum of 4 people in your active tournament, and then you run it, you get those 4 guys to do it. Everyone in the league receives the same rewards. If you're at a low cup level for your league, you can earn wins each and every day. Another thing you can do is once you are starting to struggle to win tournaments in your league because your fame is too high, you can start a new league with no fame, and it takes a matter of days to get your fame back up to where you're earning credit each and every day. As long as you have 4 guys that are willing to play League versus League, everybody gets rewards. I know we're talking a lot about quests, but this season has been a lot about quests. Here towards the end of FIFA Mobile 22, even though we're in 2023, it's still the same season. As we get close to the release of EA Sports FC, we're getting more and more of these quest promotionals. And one of the ways to easily complete all those promos, including like tackles and passes and all that kind of stuff, is to just set your phone up to autoplay manager mode while you're sleeping. You just leave your phone on, make sure it doesn't go to sleep while you're doing it, set up your auto to play until you reach a specific division. You just want to make sure it's turned off, or you can set your points to reach to a very high number. Set it at 100. I don't think you can go 999. Actually, you can go 999. Set your points to that is where you quit playing manager's mode, and it will keep going until you return to your phone. So if you're going to sleep for 6 to 8 hours, that's 8 hours of matches just racking up points in your quests. You'll wake up and have most of your tackling and dribbling and goals and headers and all that stuff complete and done. All right, that's it. That is top 10 cheats, hacks, tricks, tips, whatever you want to call them, that most of us legacy players who have been around in the game for multiple seasons know and incorporate into our daily play, that if you're a new user, this is your first season, you might not be aware of. Hope it helped. If it did, make sure you subscribe here at YouTube and click the notifications button. That way you never miss when any of the videos go live regarding FIFA Mobile or any of the other content here on the channel. As always, I'm FinallyHeSleeps. Thanks for watching. As long as you guys keep watching, I'll keep making videos.